Hello and welcome to the fan show here on Cherries Red Army. It's a Thursday night here in the UK, but wherever you are around the world, thanks for joining us for our latest stream. Lots, as always, to talk about. I've got a fan panel waiting backstage, and we want your involvement as well. The interactive chat is open for you. Do get in there, do say a hello, and I do want your topics as well, because we want those discussions around what happened at Crystal Palace. It was a classic. It was a very, very good 3-3 draw. We have got Guess the Player coming as well later on, and coming to town, Nottingham Forest. Don't have a very good record against us in the Premier League. The weather, it might clear by Sunday, but they are coming to town, and they've had their own little bit of chaos going on as well. Now, subscribe if you're new to Cherries Red Army. Do hit the like button on this video to help it grow after we're live, so the people watching it back on replay can enjoy it as well. And if you support Cherries Red Army, big thumbs up to you. Thank you so much. You can become a member or donate this evening at buymeacoffee.com/Cherries Red Army. Okay, so I've got some guests behind the scenes. They're ready to talk Cherries and Gillette a little bit. And also, they want to discuss everything going on this week at AFC Bournemouth. But first, let's get the highlights of the vlog that's on the channel from Selhurst Park, minus the poor language. Sorry, Mum. Here is Crystal Palace 3, Bournemouth 3. Can we do it? We've arrived, the Eagles versus the Cherries, and we have an opportunity today to go top of the Premier League. Today, Simon Kay's trying to get me before we're even at the pub of the Cherries. Here we go!
Whoever can create the edge will, funnily enough, get the edge.
I've got to say thank you to everyone that supports you, us. You know, we got some brilliant fans on YouTube that watch week in, week out.
So it can be interesting. I don't know if it's going to be, absolute Andoni chaos and they're just going to be everywhere, but we'll find out, and I'm sure it'll be a great game.
Palace obviously in form at home,
yeah,
but hopefully it's got to be better than 2-0 last season, isn't it?
Well,
Home and away has to be
so
better.
I'm holding you to that.
We are top of the league! Creepy! Yes! Yes! Oh my God! We're in dreamland!
Crystal Palace 3, Bournemouth 3. What a sick nut at the end. Oh, so close, so close to James's 3-2 that he almost guessed last week. All right, let's go around the room. I've got Aaron, Andrew and James with me so far. Aaron, we spoke at half-time when we were 2-0 up, top of the Premier League. You can't take that away from us. We were there for a few minutes. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Kirk. Thanks for having me on again. Yeah, you know what? I said to you, I think I said to everyone around me, I don't care what happens now. For there was a good hours period where we were singing "We Are Top of the League," and it was the Premier League, and that's another tick box for me in our illustrious history. Yeah, I was completely wrong. I thought it was a 1-0 defeat. I was always playing reverse psychology there. But yeah, I think all in all, when the dust has settled, and thinking about all the chances they had, I think a draw is a fair result, and for me, still a very good one.
And I do want to start this stream actually just a little bit differently, because I want to get you going in the chat. We need to get warmed up, and we are going to talk about Crystal Palace and we are going to talk about Nottingham Forest. But guys, I want to ask you just a bit of a different question. Okay, so in your time following Bournemouth, if a goal you've seen, witnessed in the stands, if you were given one opportunity to put yourself in those boots and actually dream that goal, what would it be? And you can play along in the chat and tell me as well. I'd love to hear some of these. So, Aaron, going first. You've just welcomed yourself to this stream. What goal would you love to relive yourself?
Well, there's so many, but you know what? I'm going to go old school, and I'm going to go Tony Seeley, spring 1987, because yeah, look, you know, we're obviously hitting the heights now. Premier League, Championship. We haven't been in the bottom two divisions for a long time now. But for me, as a kid back then, as a 10-year-old kid, that was when we kind of, you know, we weren't lower division Bournemouth anymore, and we knew that we were going to hit the heady heights of what was then Division 2, the Championship. So yeah, I'm going to go a bit off piste and say that goal under Harry was the first time we thought, you know, we're on the map. Nice.
Our next guest, Andrew, and I will want your goal that you want to relive and be in those boots as well. But how are you? First appearance for this season on Cherries Red Army. Good to see you back.
Great to be back, Kirk. Great for the channel to be back up and running in its new guise.
Your goal.
Yeah, but the goal. Well, I'm a bit like Erin actually. I'm gonna go back in time a bit, and I'm gonna go back to that great escape season under Mel Machin, and I'm gonna go. Seeing as we were in London at the weekend, I'm gonna go across to Griffin Park, Brentford away. Steve Jones, the winner.
What a day.
I don't know if my memory, I think I was, because we were behind the goal, I think I was in the upper tier. And I just remember Jonah I think he got the ball just on a halfway line and just turned and ran and walloped it in and sprinted to the bench to sort of with a kind of big arms raised. Scott Mean, I think, had scored the first goal. And I think that was, obviously everyone talks about the Shrewsbury home game, but that was the game that clinched it, that kept us up. And Steve Jones was my favourite player that season. I was devastated when we sold him back to West Ham. But yeah, I think that moment was just the relief that we felt that we managed against everything to kind of stay in the league that season. What a great story that was at the time. Forget what's happened since.
How many amazing stories there've been through the history of this club. It's ridiculous. And I'm coming over to James. Now, James was on last week. We were meant to have Matt this evening, but he has come back from France. And I think he's got travel delays with the storm. So I kindly messaged James at the last minute and I said, you've actually been called up to the squad for tonight's game. And he said, I think I'm fit enough for a first half run out like Croupy. And he's here. He's got his kit on, sort of, and he's ready to deliver.
I'm the 2002 Trevor Sinclair of the England squad. I'm here. Talking about famous goals that I'd like to recreate.
This is going to be a classic.
I take a little bit of what Aaron said. I love that season. I thought about that Tony Seeley goal. More pertinently, I thought about Carl Richardson's goal against Rotherham, the second one, where he chipped the goalkeeper and headed it in, because I scored a goal for my Cubs team the following week that almost exactly replicated, because it's the first time I'd seen something like that with all the balloons flying away in the away end. Andrew mentioned Steve Jones running towards the bench, fist like that. The reason why he was doing that's because Mel Machin had just threatened to take him off a minute before scoring that goal. So he was giving Mel Machin what for. I love a Steve Jones goal. A couple of seasons afterwards, 5th goal in a 5-4 win away to Peterborough, overhead from 30 yards. One of the greatest goals I've ever seen in a Bournemouth shirt. My choice, however, Kirk, I'm going to take you to the Millennium Stadium from one end to the other.
Yeah.
Down the right with Wade Elliott crossing for Stephen Purchase. And unlike Stephen Purchase, I wouldn't shin it into the bottom corner. I'm following that one into the top corner. And that's the one I'd like to replicate.
And what a special day that was as well. And I was at the Millennium Stadium. Actually, I took my daughter to a concert and I was just like mental. I had to work that day. I was working that day at Castle Point. I couldn't make that game. Anyway, I was able to watch it. I did catch it.
Oh my
but
God.
Yeah, amazing. So there's our introductions.
What about yours, Kirk? What about your game?
Mine? I don't know. You know, I feel like I want to go. I don't know. Maybe I was a winger. I mean, he wasn't a winger, but the goal. I mean, Charlie Daniels' absolute left peg against Manchester City. I mean, it should have ended up in Kings Park Cafe. Let's be honest, right? That's where it should have ended up. But on 1 out of 10 attempts, you catch it like that, and it just caught everything you wanted to, even a bit of the crossbar. So, I was a winger, so I like goals like that, you know. So, Charlie Daniels, I think, is that probably the greatest goal we've ever scored in the Premier League? I mean, alongside Matt Ritchie's chest down volley against Sunderland, maybe.
I think it's definitely up there.
It's up there, isn't it?
Especially in the context. Was that like our second season? Was that the game where we were drawing or winning until like Raheem Sterling popped up in 99 minutes?
So,
yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for making me part of that, Andrew. Actually, I wasn't going to include myself. So there we go. What's Stephen saying? Walked up Wembley Way with Jonah for the auto screen shield. Great stuff. Right, so let's crack on with the current. And AFC Bournemouth did go to Selhurst Park. We were very, very confident last weekend in the chat that we were going to win. We were 2-0 up at half-time. Kroupy put all those fears with no Even Nielsen aside very, very early. Then Crystal Palace put in a bit of a comeback and they got it back to 2-2. We got Ryan Christie off the bench to get us ahead and we had to hold on in injury time. But someone wanted to make it all about himself. We'll talk about that in a moment. James, though, you spoke last week with the stats that Crystal Palace were a first-team side and Bournemouth were a second-team side. Didn't go to plan.
It didn't happen like that, did it? But I'm also firmly in the let's just enjoy it camp. I remember the first season we got relegated under Sean O'Driscoll, and the following that season I sat in the East Stand holding a ticket that said AFC Bournemouth versus Dagenham and Redbridge. And this isn't any shade on teams like Dagenham and Redbridge at all. I'm an advocate of enjoying football at all levels, but I'm firmly in the camp of, hey, let's just enjoy it. Who'd have thought that genuinely at a point in October we would be top of the Premier League table? Who'd have thought that Sky Sports would have to hastily rearrange their Premier League tables online to truly reflect the fact that we are in fact third at the moment and in a Champions League position? This is dreamland at the moment. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the fact we're playing great football. Enjoy the fact the team are so likable. Enjoy the fact we've got a likable manager, and enjoy the fact of where we are in the Premier League. That's where I sit.
But an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff, Andrew, we knew David Brooks wouldn't be in that lineup, and I felt sorry for him because he's had a very good season, but he picked up an injury with Wales. What we weren't expecting was no Even Nielsen. Now, I was speaking to fans in the pub, fans walking up to the stadium. I didn't speak to one person who was confident that Kroupy could deliver like Even Nielsen. Well, let's be honest, Kroupy's delivered more than Even Nielsen. He scored 3 goals in 103 minutes on a pitch at the moment. Fair play to him. I was worried about his physical strength. But what he did for me, Andrew, is he did what every young player who's raw, new to the league, he just got himself about and he shot on target.
Totally. I mean, poachers' goals, the sort of goals that Even Nielsen doesn't really score for us. So I think they're very different strikers, leaving aside the difference in experience levels and what have you. I'm just really happy for him. I mean, his confidence must be so sky high. And you think about the fact that he scored that key goal at Elland Road that saved us a point, and the fact that he scored those 2 brilliant goals at the weekend at Palace. He just must be buzzing. And I think what you're saying about his sort of raw enthusiasm, that is worth its weight in gold in our sort of team, given we've got a front line that goals can come from Semenyo, they can come from Kluivert. I also thought, actually, and I was talking with my mate at the game about it before the game started, but for Kluivert, I thought was going to really take the game, on in the sense that, he hadn't started against Fulham. He came on, scored his dream goal. There'll be quite a lot of, rivalry, soft, I would hope, between Kluivert and Semenyo for that sort of top dog status. So I kind of thought Kluivert might see the opportunity with Even Nielsen not playing as, right, I'm going to go and do a kind of Newcastle and grab the headlines. But it was Kroupy that did it, and just delighted for him.
Now, Aaron, I did lie a bit because Steve Connor says he was confident about Kroupy. There's also someone else who's very confident about Kroupy. He's got him on the back of his shirt, and it's your lad Josh. So fair play to him. I've videoed the vlog twice with his shirt before the game, and it's come in. So Josh, need to do it every game now. Wear the shirt and let me get the camera on the back of it before the game. So yeah, but you weren't too confident at the start of the game, but that was quickly squashed early on in that first half.
Yeah, so there's me saying to him, why are you getting Kroupy on the back of your shirt? He's never going to play. What's the point of that? Both my boys, to be fair, have said, believe me, he's the real deal. And I don't know if the others feel about it. He reminded me very much of Defoe when he came in the early noughties in that loan period. he kind of drifts and just finds himself. Obviously, he's slight as Jermaine was back then. Well, he always was, but he was a young kid back then. Croupy reminds me very much of him. He's just in the right place at the right time, and yeah, I wasn't confident in the respect that I just, as you said, he's a bit lightweight. We haven't really seen enough of him, and I'm not sure if he'll be able to kind of lead the line in a way that Evan Nilsson does so brilliantly. But and I've heard a lot of people say this, I'm not sure Evan Nilsson would have been in the position or scored the goals that the 2 goals that Croupy scored. It's not his sort of game. The first one was as a poacher at the far post, which was great. And then the second one, he kind of held his run and just was just there, and the connection was brilliant. So, yeah, 3 goals, as you say, in nearly 100 minutes of football. And Eva, who does a huge amount for the team, obviously, is kind of struggling on the goal-scoring front. So, yeah, it's maybe this is a blessing in disguise. But I think we're certainly going to have him for the next game or 2, I would think, until Eva's back. But then, there's options, isn't it? Unal's also coming back. So the striking options are looking a bit more plentiful now. There
is that worry, though, James, that Croupy does this, comes off the bench, saves us at Leeds, scores 2 goals, and he was always going to run out a bit of steam. Obviously, it's his first start, so Andoni brought him off in the second half, which is fair enough. But don't get carried away, because we quite comfortably and easily can do that.
Get carried away. I love getting carried away. I love a bit of fantasy booking. Look, form is something that isn't really tangible, right? Just having goals about you and having that run where you look like you're going to score, where it isn't necessarily that you're coming in for Evan Nilsson and doing his job. You're coming in to do a different job. And from where I was watching it, I saw Tavernier doing a lot of the running for Croupy that Evan Nilsson would have otherwise done. It's probably part of the reason why it fell apart a little bit in the second half, because Crystal Palace weren't getting as stretched as much up into their defensive end of the field as they would be had Evan Nilsson had the full run and was fully fit. But you've got to love a striker that's in form, right? Because we wait so long sometimes for it to happen. You've got to enjoy it. You've got to embrace it. And that's what strikers do when they come into teams where they're second, third choice. They take their chances. Good strikers take their chances. And this lad, like we don't know much about him, but we knew his record from last season in the French leagues was good. He had a good goal scoring record. If he knows where the goal is, and if he's got that poacher's instinct, he's going to score goals wherever he goes. Football doesn't change, and football has a very high price tag and a very high value on players that can find the back of the net. And like I say, his goals per minute ratio in the Premier League ain't bad at the moment, is it?
No, it's definitely not. And that's what Roy Frampton spoke about there, about his goals. Not the Prem, but a different league in France, but he still delivered goals. It's the important thing with Croupy now, Andrew, not to coach him too much, as weird as that sounds. You can see players, right, like Semenyo, for example, and Dom Solanke, just deliver. They've got that comfortable environment at Bournemouth to go and be a little bit free, and then they go to big clubs. Now, I know we haven't sold too many players to Manchester City, but you see like Grealish goes to Manchester City and he's almost been coached out of what he did at Aston Villa. And I think there's a fine line here. I think just let the kid play. Of course, you're going to need to guide him, like James said. Off the ball, is he doing the right stuff? Is he supporting the press? But actually, just let him be a little bit free and just keep praising him.
Yeah, and I think out of all the head coaches or managers we've had over the last chunk of time, Andoni is probably the best manager for him right now, because I think he will be embracing that sentiment. I don't think Andoni is going to be sitting him down going, "Shit, son, we need you to become a bit more restrained in this area." I think he's going to give him that confidence and that freedom, because he's got such strong, structured players around him. If you think about that front line, Tavernier, Kluivert, Semenyo, all the other supporting players play to his strengths. And I think the setup that we've got will be just ensuring that sort of fearlessness that he probably has. Like you're saying, Aaron, that he's just fresh to it and just enjoy it. Just shoot, go for goal. So I think he's in the right sort of nurturing sort of environment for that.
Yeah, so massive praise for Croupy. He's likely to play this weekend again, because it looks like Evan Nilsson is going to be out. Small injury, apparently, for a few weeks. So there is lots more stuff to talk about Crystal Palace, especially that chaotic second half. But James, you'll remember last week we did play a game called Guess the Player. Aaron's done a different variation of this game because I have adapted it slightly this week. Andrew, don't know if you've seen it, but I'm going to let you know how it's played in the chat. So I'm going to show you an image on the screen in about 20 seconds. It's going to show you partially a career path of the player that I'm talking about who has played for Bournemouth. So I'm going to give you hint 1 in a moment. We're not going to do the guesses yet. Later on in the show, we are going to go for hint 2, and then we'll see if you guys in the chat can guess who I am trying to suggest the player is to you guys. Okay, so this is hint 1. So it's not going to have every club yet. So here we go, James. You remember this from last week. So,
God.
In this order on this career path, guess the player. We've got starting at Portsmouth Football Club, and this is senior career. Okay, hidden badge, hidden badge, hidden badge, AFC Bournemouth. Portsmouth Football Club, hidden badge, hidden badge, hidden badge, AFC Bournemouth. So start thinking about that in the chat, and we'll come back to that later with hint 2. Let's have a look at their faces. It got easier in hint 2 last week, didn't it, James? It did.
It's got a lot easier, yeah.
So it should get easier.
Can I just ask, Kirk, is AFC Bournemouth the final club in their career journey?
It is.
And are they? Can we ask if they're active at the moment or not?
They're not.
Okay. Cool.
They're not.
Thank you.
When you say active,
I don't mean like. I mean like a. You know, are they still a professional footballer?
Yeah, they're done. They're done. Great career, but they're done.
Okay, the career is finished. Right. Okay, good.
It's done. Right. So start thinking in the chat, but no guesses, no Googling. Right. There was an important moment, James, at the end of that first half, and I actually thought this is going to be our day. 2-0 up. We'd rid a little bit in that first half where we had to keep Mateta out, and Petrovic, who you were speaking about last week, made an important save right on top of half time. I thought that was the done deal. I thought that's it, because Mateta should have scored that, but there was a great save from Petrovic going in 2-0. I thought it was going to be our day.
Yeah, file it under the overwhelming folder that is marked goals Mateta should have scored. But potentially could have had 5 or 6 at the weekend. Frankly, I'll be real quick because I'm just going to repeat what I said last week. I think Petrovic is one of the gets for us from the transfer window. I love a solid goalkeeper who commands his area, who has good communication skills. And your distribution stats and everything else, all the people who love deep diving into these stats these days, they can obsess about those. But ultimately, goalkeeping is about communication and commanding your area. And he does it brilliantly. And he proved at the weekend that he has shot stopping as well, which he's done. He started at Anfield. He had that one that was going into the top corner and he just flicked it over the bar in front of the cop. I really, really admire Petrovic. And we haven't had that goalkeeper probably since Ramsdale, maybe even before that. We haven't had that style of goalkeeper. So yeah, really, I feel confident with him between the sticks, so to speak.
And the benefit we have with him as well is that he's on a long contract now. We're not playing around with goalkeepers in their 30s. We're not on loans. And this guy, if he can continue to grow, has got a long career ahead of him. We've got him down on the contract, and I think we can focus on other areas in future windows. So, yep, he done very well, especially in that end of that first half. And in that first half, he stopped Mateta a few times. Okay, Aaron. So we spoke about halftime. We were confident. We did say as well that there's a lot of minutes still left in a football match. It can change in any moment. So I love, and you know this, I mean, I know Andrew's his biggest fan, but I'll fight Andrew for the badge if I have to with Andoni Iraola. I absolutely love him. I really, really do. My fear was, though, we had to do a little bit of the nasty stuff and we maybe had to shut up shop for 15, 20 minutes because Crystal Palace had to come out. They had to come out. And I think if we'd have got to 60, 65, we could have then picked them off with Gannon Doak coming off the bench, Adley, and we could have won that game 3-1, 4-1. The thing we didn't want to do was concede in the first 15 minutes. What we didn't want to do was concede 2, and it felt like Tottenham when they equalised, where we threw 2 goals away. Your thoughts on that? And I don't want it to be a negative, but is it maybe the flaw with Andoni Iraola, just that there is just that attack-minded vision that he has.
Not at that moment, no. That wouldn't have been right for me. I actually think the first goal was 60-something, 62nd, and then 65th or something around that. So it wasn't right at the beginning of the second half. I felt that the turning point, ironically, was Senesi's yellow card, which obviously we all waited with bated breath thinking it was going to be a red. And before we hammer Jared Gillett too much for what happened later in the game, fair play to him in front of a home crowd for actually overruling the VAR, who told him to give a red card.
I suppose it's not Jared's fault, Aaron, but it's a non-conversation. It should never have happened. There was no reason to go to VAR in my. It's never.
No, I 100% agree with you. But what I'm saying is,
it gets round. So
that's very very rare that you're told to go to the screen, especially in a home ground, and say to the VAR, which I wish referees would do more. Absolutely not. I was right the first time. So, but anyway, that moment was a massive turning point because Senesi and Diakite, who'd been absolute rocks up until the 65th minute, whatever it was, Senesi's then began to look a little bit shaky. It's very easy when you're Antoine Semenyo picking up a yellow card early on because you just don't tackle if you don't have to. As a centre back, you can't do that. So there was as well as he was playing, for me, there was a time when maybe Milosavljevic should have come on at that stage for Senesi, simply because Senesi couldn't make tackles and Sarr was flying down and Patessa obviously causing lots of problems. That was a time. The conversation for me later on came, obviously, once we scored what we'd hoped was the winner out of absolutely nothing, having spent the previous 25 minutes saying, take a draw now, get out of here, take a draw now. There's only one team that's going to win this. There's only one team that's going to win this. And then we got the other end and score. In the 91st minute or 90th minute at that stage with 7 or 8 minutes of injury time, that's perhaps the only time that I would have then, instead of Lewis Cook coming on, brought Milosavljevic on, which I know is very against what Andoni stands for. Probably might have backfired anyway, because we've seen it before with managers who go defensive and we sit back and we might have conceded anyway. So I might be totally wrong, but I just felt with Andoni saying himself, admitting after the game, they became very physical, long ball, and we were struggling in their physicality. We got a 6'6" defender who we know can do a job sitting on the bench. And maybe Lewis Cook wasn't the best option at that moment in time. But hindsight is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So, yeah, it's very easy to say now.
I think you're right, Aaron, actually. I absolutely love Andoni Iraola, but I think maybe in retrospect, he would agree, because you say that we don't do that. But if you look back at the Fulham game, Iraola did a masterstroke, didn't he? He took a defender off, and I think took Senesi off, and he put on an attacker. And then when we actually got that goal, he then put the defender back on.
Yeah.
So he could easily, having thought we'd secured the 3 points, have put on Milosav. I can never pronounce his name. I'm sorry.
Call him Milo.
Milo. I think I felt like, especially with Senesi on that yellow, I thought that would have been the safe bet. And I don't think anybody would have sat in the stand and thought, oh, he's playing it safe here. It's like, this is it. Just buckle down for 8 minutes. So probably in retrospect, I would imagine Iraola might also tend to agree with us on that front.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that I would never do that on 60, 65 minutes like some previous managers have done. But when you get to the 90th minute, you scored what hopefully is the winner. You've only got to see injury time out. I don't think anyone would dispute, oh, you've too defensive going at that stage. I think that's when you get your 6'7" guy on, when they're lumping corners into the box, which inevitably they got their winning goal from because of the penalty.
Yeah, I don't know what. So I was just with your reference there. For some reason, shades of that Leeds United away game under Gary O'Neill started to sort of come into my head. And I said to my mate next to me, if Gary O'Neill was managing Bournemouth right now, that's when he would have made those subs, on the 60th minute. And that horrible game against Leeds. I know it's a distraction, but it just goes to show the difference between Iraola and Gary O'Neill.
Yeah. I do agree, and Senesi was decent in that first half. Actually, he had some really good battles with Mateta and won some 50-50 duels and that. But there's always that fear in the back of my head. And we spoke really positively, I think, last week, James, about how Senesi's been a fantastic sort of centre back partner for Diakite, Milicevic. But there's that weakness, James, his pace. He's never had it. And if he gets exposed in an area that there's going to be a 10, 15, 20 yard run for him to compete with, was it Sarr? He had no chance. For me, it's not even a VAR decision. It's never a red in my eyes, and I'm not being biased. It's not a red. At that point, and I even think I said on the vlog, at that moment when he got the yellow, that was the time to get him off. He was really struggling, and that's when I would have got Milo on, because I'm more than comfortable. Milo was brilliant in his first game, but I also agreed that he actually don't rush him. So yes, we played him because we had to, but bed him in, don't just throw him in full deep like we did with House. And I know that one worked out, but it doesn't always work out like that. But I was more than comfortable if he had brought Milo on at that stage and taken Senesi off. Because what actually happened then, James, for that 10-minute spell, we were getting absolutely punished down the right-hand side, their right-hand side, our left. Truefert's a fantastic left back, but Munoz started to have success, and both of their goals came from Senesi, Truefert's side, and them just basically just getting 2 goals inside the 6-yard box, whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's all ifs, buts, and maybes, though, isn't it? Ultimately, what we're talking about is a very good Crystal Palace side who have had success, not only this season, but for the most part of last season, recouping at half time and coming out with a game plan that exposed certain weaknesses within our side. So this isn't like, I've stopped. As I've said to you before, I've turned off Elon Musk's hellhole machine, but I used to see so many comments in there from earlier Premier League versions of Bournemouth saying we should be beating sides like Palace. Well, in my head, we shouldn't even be playing them. And the fact is, we were playing them at their place. We know Selhurst Park can get vociferous, and they came out with a really good game plan with talented, quick attackers against us. We can do those ifs, buts, and maybes, what we should have done. I mean, I was at White Hart Lane to witness Senesi completely pocket Richarlison all game in the most beautiful Argentina versus Brazil matchup defensively. And I think, what Senesi lacks in pace, he makes up for in so many other areas. An amazing game of football all round. We did well to get ahead. We did well to come back into it. And I think maybe if there was any failing, it isn't in the 60th minute where there is isn't there yellow card or red card. The failing comes in those last 7 minutes. And that's where we miss. That's where we miss a player like Adam Smith, who is a guy who can, in those vital moments in injury time where we're playing for a draw, playing for a win, dip into his little box of tricks to wind the clock down and get inside the referee's ear and get inside the opposition's heads. Players like that, and I think sometimes we're a little bit nice, but we can talk about that and what we maybe should have done in the last 7 minutes.
So we were minutes, if not a minute, away from going top of the league for a few hours before Arsenal took on Fulham at Craven Cottage. Then a corner comes in, and I want to get all of your opinions and thoughts on the penalty. And of course, I want to know your thoughts in the chat as well. So the referee gives it, Aaron. The corner comes in. We all see the ball go over. We think that's it. We're going to see it out. And he points to the spot. Now, I didn't see anything. Okay, I had a bit of a pillar in my way as well, but there was nothing obvious to me. I think my gut feeling was it was going to be soft. I've watched it back when I got home. Now, for me, it's not a penalty. I think you could give a penalty every week if that's the case. However, Diakite's naive. If he knows Jared Gillett, and he seems to have these things with AFC Bournemouth regularly, he makes a mistake by putting his arm out. Okay, but then what Gahey does, very clever, is uses that to then drag himself down, in my opinion, and he fools the ref. VAR, I don't know if VAR, I did see somewhere that someone said, don't know if it's true, that VAR asked him to go and look at it, but he didn't. No, I don't know if that's true. Again, I'm just taking it on the value of what I've seen. No, it's not a penalty, but the fact that he's given it, it's now 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. You're never going to overturn it. It's like if he doesn't give the penalty, VAR don't give the penalty. I mean, yeah, your thoughts. I mean, it obviously led to Mateta's hat trick and 3-3, but just really soft.
Firstly, it's not a penalty, right? It's not. You explained pretty well. Number one, that would be 5 or 6 penalties every single match in any league in any world in world football. So it's not a penalty. Number two, you said very well that Gay did this, and I think this happened to Lerma a couple of years ago when he was playing for us. Actually, I can't remember who it was against. Gay dragged himself down, and Diakite fell on top of him, which made it look like Diakite had flattened him. but the thing which annoyed me more than anything else, and you can watch this if you actually watch the highlights back. Number one, in between Gillette and this action, Truffert was standing in his way, purely in the line of sight. But more importantly than that, and this is really important, Gillette wasn't looking through Truffert at that stage. Gillette wasn't. His eyes weren't on it. He wasn't watching it, and I've watched that very carefully. He couldn't watch it because Truffert was standing in his way, and he wasn't watching. He was watching all the other altercations happening in the box. And as soon as Gay went down under Diakite, he then, I don't know if it was the linesman had told him something in his ear, I'm not sure. He then pointed to the spot. So not only was it not a penalty, if he had seen it, he hadn't seen it, in my opinion. He hadn't seen it because, number one, it was physically impossible to see through Truffert, and number two, he wasn't watching it at the time. So he saw at the corner of his eye, two people went down, Diakite on top of Gay. That must be a penalty, and that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. Can I be controversial here, Andrew? I've got to be very careful, I suppose. Does it make 3-3 a bit more of a classic for the Premier League? Late equaliser, 1 minute, referee gives a penalty. Am I going down a road here that doesn't exist?
Well, I was just going to say I think how Aaron's just summed it up was perfect, and I agree with pretty much everything you've said there. I mean, you're right, Kurt. It would have been another great talking point if the game had got given, any kind of proper coverage, but it wasn't really, was it? I mean, we were second on Match of the Day, and even Match of the Day highlights. I think that usually, I'm not one to sort of think that there's a sort of conspiracy against Bournemouth, but usually they're okay with us. But they cut the game down in such a poor way that it took the sort of the drama out of it. I remember walking out of the stadium thinking, God, that's had everything in it, hasn't it, really? And yeah, that penalty, if that had been Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, that would have been pulled over. And the likes of Jamie Carragher would have been doing the brilliant breakdown, Aaron, that you've just done of the whole incident. It was 3-3 on reflection in retrospect feels okay, given everything that we've said about where Palace are, etc. But it felt like a bit of a kick in the teeth, to concede so late in such a soft way.
James, your thoughts on the penalty? Was it naive for Diakite to put himself in that position to allow Gahey to maybe manipulate the situation?
No, it's absolutely ridiculous. They need to get on top of what is and what isn't in a foul in this sort of situation at a corner, because there's too much variety in terms of what is given and what isn't given. VAR has been sort VAR out, right? This is how you do it. I want to know if the ball's crossed the line or not. I want to know if it's offside or not. And I want to know if anyone's cheating or not. That's all I need to know. You don't need to re-referee the game. We need to know those clear and those clear things. And when people are rolling around on the floor, holding their face, pretending they've been elbowed in the face when there's no contact at all. If you can call those things out, then that's an easy win to get fans on side. I don't need them. I've heard it described before as well. I don't need a referee addressing the crowd from their little microphone on their chest. They always sound like Mark Clattenburg in Gladiators when there's a rule infringement from Apollo or someone like that. Right? I don't need that. I just need to know those basic things. VAR was brought in basically because Frank Lampard had a goal chalked off at the 2010 World Cup in a match that we probably would have lost anyway. Right? But we just need to know those certainties. And this fuzzy refereeing is what upsets people. It's this fuzzy thinking that takes moments away, like Josh King's brilliant turn at Stamford Bridge and subsequent goal for Fulham. It takes those moments away from fans, and to not see how it's ruining the game it's just beyond me, in terms of the experience of the matchday fan. But as for this nonsense at penalties, players like Gahey are smart. So they're going to go into these situations and try and win more penalties. And you're going to have more of this fuzzy thinking because we're not clear on what isn't a foul in the box.
Yeah, totally. We got over that moment though, James, and I know you've got to go in a moment. So we do appreciate you coming on for this first half of this stream. 3-3. I'm trying to gather my thoughts inside the stadium, and Mateta has maybe the miss of the season. I mean, I am sitting here, right, thinking if I'd have walked out of that stadium losing 4-3, I'd have just been, I don't know where I would have been. I don't even know if I could have drove straight home. I think I would have needed to go and have a drink somewhere because I could not believe we'd walk out of there 4-3. Do you know what the interesting part was, James? So when that full-time whistle went, he got the ball. He had the ball and he was banging it against his head because he knows he's missed a moment there to score 4 goals and win the game for them.
So there was a beautiful clip, and I'm not sure if you can find it. You may be able to find it on replay on the iPlayer, but they went from final score on BBC straight to Selhurst Park to get an interview, and it was awkwardly edited because I think it was for the world. It was an interview for the world feed, and they weren't quite getting their microphones lined up. And they asked the first question of Mateta, and he couldn't speak. He was ready to go, but he couldn't speak. And then they had the problems with the audio. And then you hear him say off microphone, he says, "I just want to win so badly. And I just can't believe it. And my camera's gone. So hopefully you can still hear me." But he said, I want to win so badly. And although I've scored a hat trick today, I don't want this ball because I missed such a clear and obvious chance at the end to get us the 3 points.
Yeah,
I admire Crystal Palace so much because they play football in such an attractive way. They have such a positive fan base, and we put on a match that was never going to win match of the season because it was 3 o'clock on a Saturday. You know that match of the seasons only happen on Monday Night Football or at 4 o'clock on Super Sunday, and that's why we got relegated to 2nd or 3rd spot on match of the day. But I hope Palace have an amazing season. I hope we have an amazing season too, and I hope we have an amazing game when we bring them down to our place. And I hope we both get to play in Europe next season. But yeah, my camera's gone, so I'm going to have to bid you all adieu. I'm so sorry.
That's absolutely fine. But James, thank you very much. Can I just get a score prediction from you for Forest on Sunday? And we'll have the score predictions from the chat later on. But very quickly.
So I can't decide whether Sean Dyche is going to be fired by Bonfire Night, stabilise Nottingham Forest till the end of the season, or win the Europa League. It's one of those 3 things. I can't decide what it's going to be. I think they're too much of a basket case of a club. I think it's too many different styles. They've gone from Nuno, they've just gone from one style to the next, and it's just so bizarre. We should be good at home. I think we'll struggle to a 1-0. How about that? A stuttery 1-0 win for the Cherries.
Ooh. 1-0 to the Cherries at Dean Court. Heard that one before. Brilliant. Well, it's a good point to now move on to Crystal Palace. Thank you to James. Do check him out. I'll try and put his details in the description after the stream as well. And myself, Aaron, and Andrew, we're going to move on to Crystal Palace, but do us a favour. We're going to move on to Nottingham Forest, not Crystal Palace. We're done with that one. We're going to move on to Nottingham Forest, but you can do us a favour here on Cherries Red Army. A massive favour. Please do subscribe if you're new around here, but more importantly, smash the like button on this video. We are live on YouTube, and Nottingham Forest are live at the City Ground, taking on Porto in the Europa League, and we'll see if we can catch up to see how they're doing in the moment. We'll see if that will hinder them a little bit Sunday as well. But let's go back to the Premier League, Andrew, because you're absolutely right. They've got it right on their website page. Bournemouth are 3rd, and that's because Liverpool lost on Sunday. So that high, low to then the high on Sunday. 3rd in the Premier League. I was feeling a lot better at 6:30, 7 o'clock on Sunday again.
Definitely. I find it bizarre that Sky Sports TV were putting Liverpool 3rd, yet their own website was putting it, as 3rd as well. Anyway, it's glorious, isn't it? I mean, I know, sometimes after the first 2 or 3 games of a season, you'll find an unexpected team at the top of the league. And it's the novelty factor. But we are, 8 games in now. And, let's look at that. 1-4, drawn 3, lost 1. Fantastic. Same goal difference as Liverpool. Who'd have thought that? And it's just a testament to just how strong a start we've made against, I'll be honest, I didn't expect us to be able to start the season in the way we have done. And it's the feel good factor is just incredible, isn't it?
You were talking about the old times earlier on, Aaron, when I was asking about scoring goals. Stop the clock. We're third. Now, we have to be a little bit real here. We're probably going to be lower than that, of course, come the end of the season. But
Fourth, yeah.
we're keeping ourselves with that top pack. We've got an opportunity this weekend to stay there. Games, there's going to be a few harder games coming down the road. But just come on. We might not be able to ask this to you many times this season. Third in the Premier League. On merit, not after game 1 or 2, like Andrew said. On merit, we are third in the Premier League.
Yeah, we're the only team in the Premier League unbeaten in our last 7 games, because obviously we lost the opening game, and we're the only team that hasn't lost any of matches 2 to 8. So we're in the longest unbeaten run. And in that run, away at Liverpool, away at Tottenham, away at Palace, home to Brighton. These are Fulham. We won both of them. These are teams likely to be in and around us as well. So we've had a relatively hard fixture list. So yeah, it's great stuff, and I think we are 100% there on merit. I'm thinking back to some games. We could have got 2 more points on against Palace. Could have beaten Newcastle, but that was a bore fest. So yeah, I think it's set up for it. And the irony is, I'm looking around, and really, apart from the 2 teams above us, if I'm being perfectly honest, and I guess you do have to include Liverpool as well, although they haven't been great recently up until last night. They look a bit all over the shop. But I think, in all honesty, apart from Arsenal, Manchester City, who I think are beginning to bubble along now, and Liverpool, who've had a little blip but will clearly come strong, there's no other team that really scares me. And I'm not for 1 minute saying we're going to come 4th or 5th or anything like that. But who else below you? There's plenty of good teams, but who else below you? Who would you say with certainty right now is a better team than us, apart from those 3? So yeah, good times. Let's enjoy it, and yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
The other sort of advantage, so to speak, that we do have, if you do look at, the top 8 clubs, everybody's playing in Europe every week, apart from us, and that includes Nottingham Forest. So, we do have something there which gives us potentially a physical advantage, against many of those other bigger, better teams.
And we're out the Carabao Cup already, so yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, we've only got the FA Cup, and that's it, and concentrate on the league. Yeah.
Do you know what I love about football is you can have a little bit of banter, and over the years with Forest, we've had a little bit of banter. But you've seen me scroll this league down, and you'll see that Nottingham Forest, they're 18th, and you'll be able to see them 18th. If you're a Forest fan watching this now, welcome to Cherries Red Army. If you're checking this out before kickoff on Sunday, you're 18th. 1 win all season, guys.
Oh, Kurt, you're putting the mockers on it now.
Oh, I know. And they've got their 3rd manager already after 8 games. I'll stop now. But on Sunday, Andrew, it is Bournemouth taking on Nottingham Forest. The bad weather's coming, so I know Forest are coming to town. The weather down here at the moment in Bournemouth is not great. Where do we start? I will try and find their game with Porto at the moment and see what their lineup is doing. Also on SofaScore, they do show predicted lineups, so I'll try and show them in a minute. But the first thing that comes to mind is they don't have a very good record against us. They really don't. I mean, I don't even think they've beaten us in the Premier League. They've definitely not got a win against us in the last 10. So their season's not started well, and the stats are not on their side either.
No, and I don't know why a rivalry's developed over the years. I think goes back down to that championship season, doesn't it? When they made that late surge to sort of creep in to get promotion, and all their fans actually thought they had a chance of getting automatic. And I'll not forget, actually, there was some video footage of the Nottingham Forest team bus leaving their training ground to come to that game, and they were like giving them the kind of send off as if they're going to a cup final. So there's quite a lot of bravado from their fan base around that game. I think it's a weird one, Forest, isn't it? I have no sympathy for them. I think their owner I mean, I'll not forget the end of last season when their owner came on the pitch to remonstrate with Nuno. He looks like a thoroughly unpleasant gentleman, actually, whenever I see shots of him sat in that weird sort of throne he seems to have got erected in the stands. I think Deitch will probably do a great job for them. He'll stabilise them. And everyone says that, the style of football that he's likely to bring about is very similar to what Nuno had. So let's hope that, there's not that sort of the cliche of the uplift of a new manager on Sunday. I think, there's no reason why we can't, win relatively comfortably, I would hope. But I'm a bit like James. I think it might be a bit scrappy, and I think Forest will be very scrappy in how they play against us. But yeah, what a weird sort of basket case of a club at the moment, really. That's really my take on them.
So, because there is changes, as we said, Aaron, I don't know how far ahead Andoni and his team will look. They'll obviously focus on the next game coming up, but they would have seen the fixtures come in. Ange Postecoglou was really struggling, and I just knew it. Once they lost on Saturday, I just knew he was going to get the sack, and now I'm not sure. So we know that Nottingham Forest have gone quickly to bring Sean Dyche in. So I can only assume, Aaron, that can't say his name, Mariakis. He obviously had who's the guy that brought him up? He's gone from my mind. Steve Cooper. So obviously he got them up, but it didn't really fit the style, I suppose, in the Premier League. Didn't like what he was seeing, whatever. And then he obviously moved to Nuno, who done a very good job with a certain style. Then that incident happened last year, like Andrew said, where he come on the pitch. And then they've moved to Ange. I didn't think that was going to work at all. It hasn't. So what are they looking at themselves now? Just stay up? I mean, have they gone from getting into Europe, trying to be a little bit like us? Can we push on again? And now they're suddenly worried that they're going to get relegated and be back in the Championship. Because that's the reason you bring Dyche in, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. I think. I mean, I've seen a lot of Forest forums and chats about this fact that last season, a lot of Forest fans are saying last season was actually a bit of a blip. They weren't in the Premier League for 25 years or whatever it was. They were struggling against relegation the season before, or one or two seasons before last season. So they've always been sort of 16th, 17th. They were tipped to go, to struggle last year, and they had an unbelievable season. And now they're kind of back where they feel like they might belong. So they're not sure what they should really be expecting. Whereas other Forest fans are very much kind of like, we're Nottingham Forest. We should be, top half of the table by right. It's not great timing for us, if I'm being honest. I think it was an absolute basket case under Postecoglou. It was a ridiculous appointment to appoint him, and the players clearly didn't want to play for him. They weren't excited by it. Ryan Yates actually said yesterday, "We've already got a spring in our step with Sean Dyche coming in." The players weren't enjoying it the last few weeks. That's the club captain saying that. So it's really rubbish timing for us. And Dyche, much as we have a great record against Nottingham Forest, we have a horrendous record against Sean Dyche. And this absolutely stinks of 1-0 Dyche doing a job on us. But
don't you start.
But I mean, again, watching the videos of him sprightly, there's a seems to be a feel good factor back at the place. He's brought in Wone and Stone, two Forest legends who are his management team, who obviously played a lot of games for Forest. They were already part of his management team, so obviously that's a massive link there. He's gone back to a very 4-2-3-1 tonight. He's again, when I saw the lineup, I'm like, where's that lineup been? And Forest fans on Twitter tonight were saying, finally, we're playing a strong lineup. I don't know what Postecoglou was doing for the last few weeks, but you've gone back to that back four, which worked well for them last year. He's got Douglas Luiz and Anderson in the two, Gibbs White behind the striker with Hudson-Odoi and Ndoye on the wing, which is exactly what Nuno is doing, albeit it was Elanga instead of Ndoye, obviously, and successful. So Postecoglou is trying to imprint a style of play on the team, which clearly wasn't working. The players didn't buy into. And I know they're playing Porto. And before we get too excited, they got Bednarek and Kiwior as their centre half. So let's not read too much into that. But they're winning tonight. Wouldn't surprise me if they beat Porto tonight. But, he's playing a very strong team tonight in his first home game. Let them win this. I couldn't care less. 2.5 days later, they're coming down to Vitality. There's going to be some tired legs. So sorry, I can't be. That says Vitality, Dean Court. I don't know what I'm thinking. There's going to be some tired legs, hopefully. Chris Wood was injured tonight. Sorry, wasn't in the squad tonight because he's picked up a small knock. He was 50-50 for tonight. I don't know if that means he's available for Sunday, but it's obviously a very quick turnaround. But other than that, they're pretty much full strength tonight. So I'm hoping that they put all their energy and eggs and impressiveness, whatever they want to do, into tonight in front of the City ground and come up against us all leggy when we've had a nice 8-day break. But he knows he's not stupid, Dyche. He's there for a reason, whether you like it or not. He will know exactly what to do and what not to do against Bournemouth. And even Eddie Howe sacrificed his principles in the game here a few weeks ago, and they are Dyche's principles. So it's going to be a very, very, very tough game. And don't forget, one last thing I was going to say is, you could be lulled into a false sense of security where they're in the bottom relegation zone, but they still got a very good team. You know, you look at their team, you got Murillo and Milenkovic, who were outstanding last year, Gibbs White, Hudson-Odoi, Chris Wood if he plays, Elliot Anderson. They are a very good team, and it's not like a team I think, they're bottom three, we should be winning. They're in a false position because I think Postecoglou took them down the rabbit hole.
So, Andrew, I'm going to put you under a bit of pressure here. I'm showing on my device, I've got a little bit of a low signal. I don't think it's too bad, but I'm just going to try and improve it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lineup on the screen of Nottingham Forest at the moment. Don't know if you can see that on your device or whether you want me to read them out. That's the squad that they've got, the lineup at the moment. I think they're winning 1-0 against Porto. And Aaron is right that it's a 4-2-3-1. There is no Chris Wood. He is shown as being out, not on the subs bench. But if you can maybe give me your thoughts on that lineup and how it might look different on Sunday, giving me about 1-2 minutes to see if I can sort my signal out. And just your thoughts on that lineup.
You probably picked the wrong person to do an analysis on the Forest team, because I'm never really one to worry too much about the opposition. Obviously, I'm aware of some of those key players, but I think what Aaron was just saying was, if this is their strongest lineup and they're playing tonight, there's going to be a lot of atmosphere and emotion for this game to be Dyche's first. It's the City ground. It's under the lights. It's Europe. And I'm with Aaron. I'm hoping a lot of these players, absolutely work their socks off tonight, and have spent the next 2 days feeling a bit leggy, needing a bit of recovery, and aren't completely at it when it comes to Sunday. But undoubtedly, I mean, they've got a very strong squad of players, and I do agree that under Ange, for whatever reason, they just weren't delivering. And I fully expect someone like Sean Dyche to be able to utilise these players in the way that Nuno was able to make them a tougher team. He won't have a huge amount of time to embed a lot of his philosophies for Sunday. So, perhaps it's a good time for us to be playing them, given it be his first away game and they're having this big night under him this evening. But I don't worry too much about the opposition. I focus on us, and I also know that we will have enough about us to be analysing Dyche's teams, not just the Forest squad, because obviously Bournemouth will be looking at thinking, what is Dyche going to do with this squad of players? And they'll be obviously watching the game tonight very closely. I'm not too concerned about how the Forest players look at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's a blessing that there's a game tonight for us. As Andrew said, I think he's had 2 days on the training ground. One day was introducing himself, all geared up probably for this game. Tomorrow's obviously a rest day. They're not going to train the day after a game, and they'll travel down on a Saturday. So he's not really going to have much more time with them on the training pitch. Look, I'm hoping that'll play into our favour. They have got a good team, but we can't fear anybody. We just went to Palace and almost won, and they've got a fantastic team and a settled 11, and arguably much better than Nottingham Forest at the moment.
Oh, I can't hear you.
I can't hear you, Kirk.
Thank you for that window, because I did put myself on mute. Thank you for that window. I'm hoping the signal's improved a little bit. If it's not StreamYard letting me down, it's my own Wi-Fi. So hopefully it's not too bad. It was probably coming through okay, but it was just showing me that it was a little bit low. So thank you for that, Andrew, and thank you, Aaron. Let's just dive into the chat for a little bit, shall we? So thank you to Wing to say he's catching us live, but he's going to go back and he's going to watch from the start. So we really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Wing has said we've beaten Everton twice last season under who? Interesting. Ben, if they sit deep, we've enough talent at 7, 10 and 11 to find gaps. I'm confident, yeah. It is the fear of the low block, but I think we are finding ways and we will find a way. I'm sure we will. I think this is a very favourable game for us, but it's a Premier League. Anything can happen. Steve Connor says Milenkovic went off with an injury. Not sure what's up with Chris Woods and Sinchenko. Oh, that was Sinchenko. Okay, you've corrected that. That's fair enough. Evening. Sammy's joining the stream, so thank you to the stream. Score predictions coming later. Just seeing if there's anything in there. And Josh is asking about Adam Smith, but we'll come to that in a moment. Right, so we will look at the AFC Bournemouth team potential predicted lineup on SofaScore when I find that in the moment. But I do think, guys, it's a good moment to see if we can get this guess the player. Okay, so when James was on about, I don't know, 15, 20, 25 minutes ago, if you've just joined us live, we are playing Guess the Player. So we're going to look at a career path of a player that has played for Bournemouth. There are other clubs involved, and you're going to try and guess in the chat now who it is. So I'm going to bring hint 1 back on the screen, Aaron and Andrew. I'll then bring hint 2 onto the screen, and then we'll have some guesses. You can work together if you want. I'm not going to put anyone under pressure. It's a bit of fun. So hint 1 earlier in the stream. Guess the player. Career path as it is. So Portsmouth to hidden badge, to hidden badge, to hidden badge, AFC Bournemouth. That was hint 1. This might make it a little bit cleaner for you. So hint 2, Portsmouth to Tottenham, to Birmingham City, to Wolverhampton Wanderers, to AFC Bournemouth. Portsmouth, Spurs, Birmingham, Wolves, and Bournemouth. So hold fire. Are you smiling?
Got it.
Has it got easier, Andrew? Don't give me a prediction yet. Has it got easier?
No, honestly, my mind is a blank, and I thought I'd get this, but no. Aaron, I'm blown away that you've got it.
I think.
Oh, I've got it now. I didn't get it right at the beginning. At the beginning, I thought it was Warren. I thought Warren Aspen at the beginning, but now I've got it. Yeah.
Okay.
How far can we get a clue, Kirk? Just give us a decade, or
okay, I'll give you some clues. Some have got it in the chat, but don't look in the chat, Andrew. Okay, because we want it to be fun. Okay, so let me see if I can give you a clue. So this player scored in his final appearance for AFC Bournemouth. Do you want another clue?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, another clue. This player scored a hat-trick for Bournemouth, and it was his only hat-trick of his career. And I will give you one more clue if you want it, and this one might be the one that gets you over the line.
Please do.
If you want this one.
Yeah.
This player played for England in Euro 96.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know it.
So,
do you know what? Do you know what? In fairness, I thought it could have been him at the start, but I was thinking, no, he didn't go through that many clubs. But I forgot about the Wolves move.
So, yeah. Andrew, I'm going to let you go first. Who are we talking about?
It would be Darren Anderton.
Aaron, do you think he's got it right?
I think he got it right.
You think he's got it right? Let's dive in the chat for guest the player. Stephen Dyer, thanks for joining us this evening. He thinks it's Darren Anderton. Mark Cole, very good at quizzes, Mark Cole. He's gone for Darren Anderton. Sammy joining the party late, and she is going with the party for Anderton. Chris is going for Anderton. Ben, Mark Singleton went for a Phobie. Wolves. Oh, the Wolves connection. Didn't play for Tottenham. But it was a good shout. Well, the player we're talking about this evening in guest player, hint 1, hint 2, is Darren Anderton. So there you go. Well done, Andrew. You got there.
I couldn't even remember. When did he sign for Birmingham on loan, or was that a permanent deal?
I think he was there permanently. I think.
Was he?
I think it was. I think it was. Yeah, obviously used credible sources here just to make sure I've got it right.
Was Mr. Anderton the sort of the first player who sort of publicly made his feelings known about the management style of Jimmy Quinn? Didn't he sort of come out and say
he didn't want to play for him, did he?
Yeah, I'm no longer playing after this game for Bournemouth.
I didn't need it.
I mean, is that Ben in the chat?
Yeah. It was. He basically retired. He sort of announced his retirement on like the Thursday and said, I'm going to play this weekend, but after that, I'm done.
Yeah, because it was in December, wasn't it? If I can remember. Is it just 2008, 7, 8? I think it's that
Something
season.
like that. Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
Late noughts.
Okay. Thank you for taking part. That's another Guess the Player. We hope you enjoy that. It just breaks up the stream. And we're talking about breaking up the stream then, Aaron. I am just working my way to give you some lineups for Saturday. So this is the predicted lineup that SofaScore are going with. So they are going for Petrovic, Truther, Senesi, Diakite, Jimenez. Actually, it might be a point just talking about Jimenez in a moment, because I thought actually he played very well in that first half at Crystal Palace. Tyler Adams, Alex Scott, Semenyo, Kluivert, Tavernier, and Krupi. So your thoughts on that predicted lineup?
I wouldn't argue against it. I think, as far as we know, Brooks and Evan Nelson definitely are not back for this game. So let's assume they're not, because if Brooks was back, he'd be a shout for starters, certainly, and Evan would as well. So they're both out. The only arguments are, does Smith come back in? But I think Jimenez was outstanding, really outstanding against Crystal Palace. I think he just ran out of legs a bit because he didn't pick up a yellow, but he went off. But the Adam Smith, if is available, every Bournemouth manager over the last however many years wants to put him in the team and I can understand why. So, but I actually think let's not rush him, and Jimenez will keep his place. Scott and Christie again, that debate, but again, Scott was great. Lost the ball a couple of times. Actually, ironically, for that Senesi yellow card, he was holding on to it a bit too long. Did that a couple of times in the game, but other than that, I thought he was great. Kluivert, again, slight question mark over his whether he's really up to it yet. Maybe starting games is what he needs. I think the fact that Brooks is out, Tav goes to that right-hand side means that Justin will keep his place and hopefully just keep on improving. So, yeah, I don't really see there's going to be anything different. I think, as I said, it was an outstanding start to the game with this team against Crystal Palace. So, barring any other injuries. And then we've got the likes of Adley, Doak, obviously, who I thought was really good again. Christie, and coming off the bench if we need them.
Yeah, some interesting conversations there then, Andrew, about Jimenez. I actually thought it was the first time I really felt comfortable that Jimenez looked like a really good right back that could improve and be very good for us throughout the season, because he struggled at Leeds in that first half. And then it is the Christie Scott conversation, isn't it, as well? But I think as well with Alex Scott, I feel like this has to be a season. I know we're all Ryan Christie fans. I know we are. But I do feel like this has to be Alex Scott's season. It's a bit like David Brooks. Now, David Brooks is like a new beast. You've got to keep playing them. And I know we want Christie in this side, but I do feel like I just want Alex Scott a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Scott's, obviously when we signed him, there was a huge amount of, desire to see him deliver. And, when he was at City, he was the new Jack, the Jack Grealish of the Championship, all this stuff. And he's had such a tricky sort of couple of years with us through injury and what have you, that, yeah, I think for him, I would start him again. I think, you've got such a strong bench, actually, for the first time in a while. To think that, Ryan Christie is effectively match fit, and he's there and able to come on. And I'm guessing Lewis Cook is pretty much back to fitness as well. So you would hope that, Alex Scott is fired up and is driven to perform at the best he can. So I can't see us necessarily changing that lineup unless there's some great tactical thought of how to approach Forest under Deitch or this weekend. But I think what's great about us at the moment is potentially you could bring in Christie and you could, if need be, bring in Smith at right back again. I agree about Jimenez, by the way. I think he showed huge amount of ability on Saturday and looked like he sort of was fitting in and gelling and getting into the sort of the system that Iriola has his playing. So I'd be happy. I mean, I'm not one normally to, when if there's a team change that's announced before the game, I sort of got to the point now where I sort of in Iriola I trust. I wouldn't have said that about some of the other managers we've had in the past. So, but I think that team is strong. It was strong against Palace for much of the game, and if Iriola goes with that lineup, then I believe we can win.
And on the other side of the pitch, Aaron, this is SofaScore, because this is what they're predicting on Sunday. Look at that wall at the back. Look at that low block, 5 at the back. I mean, I'm not sure if that will obviously be how Sean Dyche will set up, but I am looking at it, Aaron, and if Chris Wood is available, there is a concern there, because the minute Sean Dyche came in, I thought, here we go. They'll look for Chris Wood, because Chris Wood did very well under Nuno. Morgan Gibbs-White will probably pick up the pieces and definitely run off him. And I can just see Murillo sort of sticking the ball up to him and, I don't know, scrapping away. I suppose what I'm fearful of is going 1-0 down.
Yeah, I mean, ironically, for all everyone says, Dyche has always been very defensive, and he is. Ask any Everton fans, they hated him towards the end of his tenure. He generally does play a back four though, which suits us. He does, even at Burnley, it was always a 4-4-2. So he doesn't often play with a back five. Again, if he knows anything about his football, he'll probably do that against us on Sunday because he knows we don't like playing against the back five. But I think he'll probably stick with the same team tonight, which is a 4-2-3-1 or whatever you want to say. And I think that's what Nuno got the best out of that squad. So Forest fans were delighted Morata was dropped tonight. They've been going on about him. So you got Milenkovic and Murillo back together as a centre-back partnership. And I think he'll go back to that, what he's done tonight. Whether it's the same person, I'm not sure. But then it allows the quickness of Hudson-Odoi and Odoi on the wings. As you say, Gibbs-White, kind of that playmaker behind Wood if he's fit, or Jesus, whoever else is playing up front, Awayini, whoever's playing up front for them. And then Anderson and Douglas Luiz or Sangare in that too. So might be totally wrong. I don't think it will be that back five, that wall that you talked about. But they will certainly set up maybe away from home a bit more defensively. It's impossible to tell. I just would say let's try and keep the amount of free kicks and corners we concede to a minimum.
Yeah. Andrew, interestingly, and I do like to talk about this and just get your thoughts if you want to. It's at Dean Court. We know away days is very different, and we know when we're winning 2-0 at Crystal Palace, it's an amazing buzz that we're getting. Who's to blame, by the way, for singing Champions League theme tunes? Who is to blame? Every time we start talking about Rome and all this, it goes pear-shaped. Stop doing it. If you're in the chat, stop doing it. Stop it. Wait until game 38, then sing about it. Yeah, look, I know we get carried away. Andrew, Dean Court, Sunday against Nottingham Forest. There's this little bite with recent history, as we've spoken about, weather, stadium structures, and things that can go wrong at Dean Court and cause Forest fans to have to go back home before a match is even played, and all these things. Kiefer Moore sticking one in under Scott Parker. Dean Court.
1-0.
Can it be? It's 1-0.
Oh, yeah.
1-0.
Porto just scored, yeah.
So Porto have just scored. Your thoughts on just Dean Court and can it be improved? Can we help ourselves be the 12th man? Because I think every home team probably says it, it can be better.
Yeah, but I don't know what the answer is.
Build a massive south stand.
Well, exactly. I mean, bigger picture, the answer. I mean, I think what's really interesting, I don't know if this is the same with other clubs, but you look at the sort of the demographic, should we say, of the away fans compared to the demographic of the home fans. And I know it depends on where you sit and which stand, etc. But there's obviously, I think there are two types of Bournemouth fans. There'll be fans that only can go to away games, and that is their experience of following Bournemouth. And likewise, there's obviously thousands of people that never go to away games, only watches at Dean Court. So I don't know what the answer is, but I do hope, that I'm really encouraged. And I know this has been discussed, much earlier when the plans were announced. But, the plans for redeveloping the stadium are exciting. I imagine that there might be a move to move a lot of the singers and maybe the safe standing section can be replicated in a much larger way in the redeveloped South Stand. And that can almost become the new home end, the wall. It's not going to be the Dortmund wall by any stretch, but it could be our version of it. But in terms of what we can do now, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to knock our fans too much. No. There's quieter home stadiums, but Palace is a great one. I mean, we all, I think, know that the Palace fans made a lot of noise in all sections of the stadium. And it's just something that, might not change until we can actually seriously add some more capacity to our stadium. Really, I don't think you're going to change the dynamic of the state of the crowd that much.
No, but when it gets going, it is a great stadium to be inside, and that's what we need to do Sunday. If we are playing well and we are peppering the goal and we do score a goal or two, let's keep going. Let's keep going, because it is a great atmosphere. Because we've had some amazing nights, as we know, and amazing days at Dean Court. Right, we're going to come to those score predictions in a moment. I do again want to thank anyone who supports Cherries Red Army, who encouraged us to come back. We're back. I'm here. We are here. We've got different fans every week. You can support the channel by going to www.buymeacoffee.com/Cherries Red Army. There's a QR code there. You can screen that on your camera. That'll take you straight there. I sorted out the description, so the link should work now as well. If it's £3, £5, anything you can offer goes towards our running costs for StreamYards, my equipment for vlogs, all that, etc. It does massively help, and we're just having good vibes being back, and to come back when you think it couldn't have got any better than last season. Well, it is even better than last season, and we hope that we don't hit too much of a rough patch at some point. We'll have peaks and troughs, of course we are, but yeah, let's hope the minute we dip, we very quickly pick up again. So what I want to do now in the chat, because we've been going for hour and 15, hour and 16 minutes. It's been another good stream on a Thursday night. In the chat, I want your score predictions for Sunday. Dean Court for Bournemouth taking on, I'm going to say it again, nearly said it again, Nottingham Forest, because I'm talking about Palace earlier. So Bournemouth taking on Nottingham Forest. So get in there now. You've got a couple of minutes. Make sure you get your score predictions in there. Encourage others as well. What I'll do for us while we're waiting, Aaron, there are other games going on in the Premier League, unfortunately, but there is other games, Aaron. So let's just run through them. Tomorrow night kicks off Friday Night Football. Leeds against West Ham. So that's a Leeds win. Chelsea versus Sunderland. Newcastle at home to Fulham. Manchester United taking on Brighton. Brentford, Liverpool. Liverpool got back to winning ways in the Champions League last night. Arsenal against Crystal Palace on Sunday. A lot of games on Sunday. Villa, Manchester City. The Cherries, Nottingham Forest. Wolves, Burnley. Everton, Tottenham. No Monday Night Football. So, Aaron, as we're waiting for the score predictions to come in the chat, any other game you've got your eye on, if you had one?
I think Newcastle Fulham's a big game for Eddie Howe. Eddie had a good win in the Champions League, but they are struggling in the league somewhat this season. Just 9 points so far. So I really hope they can pick up against Fulham a big win. Man United Brighton's a big one as well, because can United get a third on the bounce? You know, it's all very well turning up at Anfield against your biggest rivals, but that's a tough game at home to Brighton. So that'll be a bit of an acid test to see how Manchester United. Are they really improving, or was that kind of a flash in the pan? And Arsenal Palace, yeah. Can Arsenal, if Arsenal want to win the title, which I think they will this year, then beat Palace, as we know, a tough nut to crack. So that'll be a big statement, I think, if Arsenal do win that and beat an informed Palace team. But yeah, other than that, firmly eyes on us. And by the way, the Forest goal. Porto goal was ruled out for offside.
Yeah, I think I saw that in the chat. Yeah. I'm going to choose one game on Saturday and one game on Sunday, Andrew. I'm looking at Sunderland, who have had a very, very good start to the Premier League season. They're trying to disrupt that whole 3 teams come up, 3 teams go back down. They're trying to disrupt the rhythm of what's happened in the last few years in the Premier League. And the other one I'm going to look at, Wolves Burnley. I mean, they are both, Burnley are doing all right, actually, but Wolves are in the mud.
They are, aren't they? I mean, what I was going to say about this fixture list is, you know, aside from some obvious, I say obvious, nothing's that obvious anymore, but like there's every reason that we could still be top 3 or top 4 come the end of Sunday. I would say the Brentford Liverpool game, that could be quite interesting. What with Liverpool's sort of struggle, so to speak, in the league, and Brentford under Keith Andrews, who I am actually quite surprised have done okay so far. I really, really did think that there was a bit of a sort of a Gary O'Neill-esque appointment taking place there. But
they always have a good start, though, Andrew.
They
always have a good start. It dies off. It's a good start. You know, Gary O'Neill always has a good start.
It's true. I noticed Mr. Wataro's not necessarily been starting every game. Not really
He had a good
playing.
game the other night, actually, I think.
Yeah.
But he has been on the bench.
None of those other fixtures this weekend, make me think, we're going to slip fast and hard. I think, I don't know. It's I just look at that and think, well, I think we'll still be in the top 4, top 5 come Sunday evening.
Yeah, we just got to stick with it as long as possible, because is it Manchester City coming very soon? Yeah, so we got to stick with it.
We've got to stick with it. Our next 2 away games, we've got Villa a week on Sunday, and then I think we go to Man City or Sunderland the next 2 games.
City's first, then Villa, then Sunderland. Yeah, so
right.
November's a very tough month. Apart from hopefully West Ham at home, it's a very tough month.
Yeah.
So very, very interesting stuff. Don't, Andrew. I've got my hopes up that we're actually going to win at the G-Tech this season, and I'm not folding on that. I know Keith Andrews is picking up some points now, but no, we're going to win at the G-Tech this year.
I was debating. I got another sort of email reminder from the club's communication department about the Man City tickets, and I was thinking, do I go to? We've never won at the Etihad. Am I going to make the trek up? It's a Sunday, 4:00. Not sure. But could it be our season to go and get a result against Pep at home there?
We are due.
We're
okay.
Definitely due.
Let's get some score predictions out then. Thank you for all your taking part this evening in this stream. Stephen Dyer has gone for a 2-0 to the Cherries. Sammy Nell, thank you very much for the famous Cherries Red Army 3-1. Steve Connor has gone for 2-1 to the Ches. Chris is following Sammy with a 3-1. We've got 2-0 clean sheet, 4-0 to AFC Bournemouth. We've got Ben coming in with 4-1, being as Sammy's already got one right. Let's have more. Neil, good to see you. 2-0 to the Chairs. Mark Cole's also back in that one as well. Wing's going to go back and watch the rest of this stream from the start at the end of this, and he's going for 3-0 to the Chairs. No dice bounce. Mark and Bev are going for 2-1 to Bournemouth. Max says, thanks, guys. Arrived late, but good as always. 2-1 to the Cherries. Thank you very, very, very much. Aaron, all right then. You gave me a shocking score prediction on Sunday at Selhurst Park. I want a more positive one at Dean Court. What's your score prediction for Sunday?
2-0. 2-0 to Bournemouth.
Hey!
Not going to be easy. But I just think, we'll have too much quality for them. Dyche won't have instilled anything majorly into them yet. And we'll be fresh, up for it. And, if we can perform like we can, then we'll win the game. 2-0 for me.
Josh, please wear your creepy shirt. I want to know whether it's an away thing or it's an away and home thing. Okay? Because it's happened on the away days that Creepy scored. So bring your shirt, please. And let's see if you can do it again on Sunday. Andrew's thinking hard. So what is your score prediction, Andrew?
I never know when I do predictions whether I should just go with my heart and what I want to see happen or what I think could happen. Because what I think could happen on Sunday is I think we'll win. But I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry as we might want it to be. And I've got a feeling that it could be one of those games where we take an early lead, an Alex Scott special, 8 minutes in or something similar. Forest nick an early goal in the second half from a set piece. It gets a bit uncomfortable for 5 or 10 minutes. Then Andoni puts the finishers on. Can you remember how he used to describe the subs as the finishers? And I don't know, we magic a second goal and a winner. And then we finish the game in a very strong, comfortable place. So that's what I'm thinking could happen. But I think we're going to get 3 points. And I don't think there's going to be a Dyche bounce.
No. I think some others have said that. They don't see a bounce coming. I was just thinking, when was the last time he kept a clean sheet? Newcastle? I think Petro's due a clean sheet, I know it's brave. But I do think we might keep a clean sheet. I'm going to go for 2-0 as well. I'm going to go for 2-0. I do think we'll get a 2-0. Alex Scott, I think, will have a pivotal part to play in the first half, trying to break the lines and get us going. And let's see if Creepy can create a bit of havoc again inside the stadium at home this time. Fantastic. Right. It's been a really, really good stream again. Love this, guys. I'm not sure if we'll be back next week. It is half term. It's a very busy week for me. So if we're not live next week, we will be back the week after and we'll pick up on the Forest and any other games that we miss. As we always do at the end, though, do smash the like button. This is one of your last moments on the live stream. Smash the like button. Smash it. Anyone who's watched this back on replay, really, really appreciate it. I've had some really good conversations about that Crystal Palace fixture result, and obviously Forest coming to town very, very soon. But Aaron, as always, thank you very much. Your final thoughts on this latest stream?
Yeah, it's all good times at the moment, isn't it? We're all loving this ride. Hope it can continue. As you say, there will be ups and downs. We will clearly lose again this season, and it will come. And it's how we react. And people have got to just stay level-headed. And as you say, let's enjoy this season because we just don't know who we're going to have or not have on the pitch or on the coaching staff next season. So let's enjoy every moment of this. And whoever's going on Sunday, hopefully see you there.
Also, thank you to James earlier on for his part in this stream. And I know he's absolutely buzzing about what's going on. And as he said, just enjoy the ride. Andrew, really good to have you back on. Hope you come back on again throughout the season. There'll be plenty more opportunities. Really, really good input. Your final thoughts on where we are this stream? Just life of a Bournemouth fan right now.
Exciting, isn't it? And it feels deserved. I think we've touched on it a bit this evening. We're not there because we've had a particularly easy run of fixtures or other results have gone our way. I think we're there on merit, and it just shows once again testimony to Andoni Iraola, but testimony to our really good recruitment team. You know, the fact that we have completely changed our back four, back five, and everybody looks like they've been playing together for a long, long time. I mean, Trufa for me is an upgrade on Kirkez. He's a maturer version of young Milos, and everybody is slotted in. Diakite, you know, the great thing about him at the back at the moment is he's almost going through games where you're not really noticing him, and I think that's a positive rather than a negative. So I just think we're in the best place we've ever been on the pitch and hopefully off it.
Well said. Thank you very much. So if you go into the game on Sunday, safe travels, get behind the Cherries, a very winnable game, a different fixture to what it would have been a week or two ago, but a definite winnable game. If you're watching around the world, get behind the Cherries from where you are. You can be the 12th man because we could still be in the top 4 come Sunday. And we will be back as soon as we can. I will see if I can get a vlog done for Sunday. So if a vlog is done by myself, I'll try and get it out as soon as possible. It won't be Sunday night. It may be Monday. It may be Tuesday. But I will get it edited and I'll get it out as soon as I can. But thank you for joining us live on this stream. If you've watched this stream back on replay, thank you very much. If you've got any thoughts you want to put in the comments, go straight in there and hit the comments. But for tonight, thank you to James. Thank you to Aaron. Thank you to Andrew. Thank you to you amazing people in the chat. Thank you to our monthly members. You've been amazing. Bournemouth taking on Forest at the weekend. 2-0. You heard it here first. From us, until the next one, you cheers.
Up the Cherries.
Up the Cherries.